Well, hello, my fishing friends. Thank you for coming back for another episode. This week, we're going to talk about something a little bit different, and I feel like not too many people talk about this subject. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about some pretty interesting stuff and stuff that I have learned and still really learning as I dive deeper into tournaments. But first off, I want to say thank you to everybody who's supporting me, all my subscribers, everybody who watches my videos day in and day out. I really, really appreciate it. If you are not a subscriber and you like the videos that I'm putting out, you like the content, please make sure that you hit that like and subscribe because it means a lot to me. I'm trying to build this channel and really make some great content for you guys. So like I said, if you're not a subscriber and you enjoy watching my videos, please subscribe and become a part of the community. So I appreciate you. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. Welcome back. So today's subject is going to be for that tournament angler, not really at a high level. I'm not at a high level of tournaments. I'm trying to get there, but I'm not really at a high level in tournaments. I'm working on it. And every day is a learning experience for me. So this is for that guy that is really just getting into tournaments and has those struggle days, which everybody has. Even the elite guys have bad days. But it seems like more often than not, that's what you're dealing with is a tough situation. You're dealing with, dang it, I've only got an hour left in the tournament and I've only got 2 fish, or I have no fish. What do I need to do to get a bite? And I think if you're like me, you kind of panic because you've put all the time into making sure that you were prepared for that lake. You may have even pre-fished multiple times, which I usually don't get a chance to pre-fish a ton. I'll pre-fish once or twice for a tournament, but I got a family, so do what I can with the time that I have. But I think that's what we all do is kind of panic. And we go into panic mode. We start running over here and fishing this, or running out here and oh, there's a ledge out here. Let me go hit that. Oh, let me switch colors. Let me try this lure and try that lure. And I think that really hurts us. And I know it does me because I'm guilty of doing the same thing. And I'm slowly learning and trying to put myself in a mindset that that's not always the best thing. Moving is not always the best decision. Switching baits, not always the best decision. Because if you're on fish, a lot of times that lure color or the presentation really doesn't matter that much to get a few extra bites. So it's more so about finding an area that has fish that you can coax into biting your bait. So you really just need to take a chill pill. And like I said, I'm totally guilty of doing this. Chill, look at your surroundings, and then just come up with a game plan. How can I make as many casts as possible? How can I cover the most water? And how can I fish extremely efficient? How can I give myself the best opportunity to get a few extra bites to finish out my limit or to catch a whole limit, depending on how bad your day's going. So there's one tip that I have learned, and it works for me. This is coming from my experience here in the state of Florida. If you live somewhere way up north, this might not work for you. So just take what I say and run with it, and make sure you talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about in your area. But what seems to work best for me is to find something that is sustainable. And what I mean by sustainable is, okay, am I going to run through this in 5 minutes and then have nothing to fish? Or is this like a really long stretch that I can make as many casts to as possible? And so what I'll do is I'll search around, and like I'll put up a clip here in a second, but I will search around for some kind of cover where there's a lot of it. So whether that's up against the bank or whether it's out a little bit deeper, you know, island, whatever it may be. I'm looking for something that has really, really good potential to hold a bass, and most likely is. Because if it looks like it's holding a bass, it probably either has at one point or it is currently. So it's kind of, you know, a gamble, but it's your best scenario. So what I'll do is I will look around and I'll let's say I see a reed line or a grass line. You know, it may be a quarter mile, it may be 3 miles long, but I will look for something that's got a lot of cover on it, something that I can really pick apart. And I will literally get 10 to 15 feet away from that cover and make as many flips, pitches, casts into the little pockets, the little points, you know, up under, you know, if there's any kind of wood or sticks or tree laydowns, I'll toss up under there. But I will literally move at a slow pace and just work that reed line, grass line, whatever it may be, and just make as many casts as possible. Now, what this will do is it manages your time efficiently. So let's say you have 2 hours of fishing left, you only have 3 fish, you need to get 2 more bites to complete your limit. What I'll do is I will start at one end of that cover. I'll move at a steady little pace, nothing too fast, nothing too slow, because I'm timed in the tournaments. You know, you only have like in our tournaments, I think we have till 2:30 to 3 o'clock. That's usually what time we have lines out. So what I'll do is I'll start at one end and I will steady move and make as many casts as I can to that cover in the pockets and everything else. And that gives me the most chance of getting a bite and possibly catching my last few fish that I need to complete my limit. So these are going to be my suggestions for what you should fish with. But my number one, and this will work most of the year here in Florida with the warmer weather we have, and that is this guy right here, a Gambler Easy Swimmer or the Big Easy, you know, depending on what they're wanting. But the Gambler Easy Swimmer is a great go-to. And the reason I say that is because you guys have seen me talk about this in multiple videos. This is one of my favorite ways to fish a swim bait. But this is a phenomenal search bait. And it's a really great way to get those few extra bites because, I mean, it's a good reaction strike bait. So I will just put that on an EWG hook, heavy braid, heavy rod, fast reel, and let's say it's Kissimmee grass. You know, I've got a long line of Kissimmee grass. I will take this bait and I will toss it to the back side of that, you know, grass line and burn it through that grass as not really fast, but I'm at a steady pace. You know, I'm making sure that this is making racket. I'm making sure I'm making as many casts into the little holes and pockets in that grass. And there has been quite a few times where I only had 2 or 3 fish. I needed those last few fish to complete my limit. And I went through a grass line and burned this and got a couple more reaction strikes, you know, running over the top of one's head. And I was able to complete my limit. This is set up to be a topwater bait. I use this topwater. You can also let it fall in the pockets and fish it a little slower. But when it comes to being efficient and you really need those extra fish to complete your limit, you can use this to cover water and get those reaction strikes. And you know, early morning or late in the evening is going to be your best topwater time. But I will say this, I have had multiple tournaments where it was hot. It was the middle of the day and I found that grass line and I burned this through there. And because I almost scared the fish, if that makes any sense, I got a reaction strike because I ran it right over the top of their head and I was able to catch those fish. So that's one of my favorite ways to be efficient on the water depending on the conditions. So, you know, you can't, you know, if it's 110 degrees, your grass line's in 2 foot of water, this might not catch them. You know, they might be moving a little bit slower. So you just have to kind of pick apart, you know, what your situation is. But this is one of my favorite ways to do it most of the time here in the state of Florida. And this right here has saved my butt multiple times in tournaments. My second go-to has got to be the speed worm. Okay. And you know, you have your different stuff. This is a watermelon red from Rippin' Lips Lures, just a speed style worm. You know, you've got your mag speed worms. You've got your different colors. You know, I've got some here from Bitters, and it's just a speed worm. I don't know what else to call it. A cutter style worm, I guess you'd call it. But these right here are great too for this. And in the video clip, you can see that's what I was fishing. I was using the Googan Baits blazing worm to just cover water. So that is going to be my number two. You can just do a nice steady retrieve with it and swim it back, you know, and cover a lot of water that way. You can throw it up into pockets and bounce it around. But a lot of times you can just swim this back to the boat, you know, a nice slow pace. As your boat's moving, reel that in nice and slow, swim it back, and you can get some reaction strikes or at least get some smaller buck bass to come out and chase that. So that's my number two way of fishing that situation where I just need to cover water and try to make as many casts as I can to possibly get a few extra bites. That's going to be number two. And then, of course, you know, you've got the ribbon tail. The ribbon tail is a great go-to as well. You can do the same thing with this as you do with the speed worm. I just find that the speed worm gets a little more attention, but you know, you can throw this and do the same exact thing. So it's just a matter of covering water and making as many casts as possible. Something else too, if you're not wanting to make short casts like that, you may have a situation where you have really thick grass, but there's little pockets all through it, you know, or little cuts in the grass line or whatever. That's where the creature bait comes in. Or let me get an example here. The Senko style lure, okay? That's where these will shine. You put them on a little bit, you know, different Texas rig style, you know, and you just flip into those pockets. It's really efficient. You just move along, make a flip into all those pockets, and you can cover a lot of water, make a lot of flips and pitches with that, and give yourself a huge chance of actually catching a few more fish. So, but really, that's all there is to it. I really feel like it's a great way to save your day by doing that. And I'm still learning to be patient and slow down and not panic and do that. But that's my advice. I think number one, don't panic. If you're having a struggle day, do not panic. Slow down, look at your surroundings, and find something that's sustainable, that you can cover a lot of water, make a lot of casts, and give yourself every opportunity to get a few extra bites. But hopefully this helps you out. It's not a super in-depth video. I'm not, you know, getting into some of those fine details. I'm not getting fancy with it. I'm just giving you the straight up facts of what works, you know, what will give you more confidence, what will give you the best chance to finish out your tournament day, hopefully up in a higher spot than you would have if you know, panicked and ran all over the place. I'm trying to encourage guys, don't give up. Everybody has those tough days. I have those tough days all the time. And just don't give up. Put your mind to it. Get out there and cover some water and try to find those fish. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next one.